It's time for the Ella Johnson Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, where there are two sides to every story. Enjoy the broadcast. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ella Johnson Show. I hope you guys have been enjoying these shows for this Black History Month. We've been going live, bringing topics to you. You know, there's so much Black history to tell. So we're just kind of carefully choosing things that we think you want to know about. But I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. You could be doing anything else right now, but you decided to be here with us tonight. If you're watching from Facebook, please do me a favor and just share the broadcast. If you're watching from YouTube, please subscribe. And anywhere else that you're watching, Global News Network, any of the other platforms, we appreciate you for tuning in. So if you would just share the broadcast, like the comments, like the show, get involved, ask questions, make comments. They're all welcome. All opinions are welcomed here at the Ella Johnson Show because, as you know, it's two sides to every story. Isn't that right, Miss Heather?
Yeah, that is true.
Now, Heather, you have been with us. I mean, you've been hanging in there all
Yes, I
month
have.
with us. Yes, you have. And I see Mark is joining us tonight. Mark.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you? Have you been keeping up with the shows, Mark, and watching? And
I've been peeking every now and then.
All right. Well, listen, this topic tonight is so heavy. Like, it's like the more you read, the more you find, the more you want to talk about. So I think I'm going to extend this one for tonight and tomorrow night, so we don't have to get everything in one night, guys. Okay. Let's just let this conversation flow. I'm going to let this one go tonight and tomorrow. And then Thursday night, we'll come back with the missing Black cities and towns that just went missing, just missing. I know it sounds bizarre. It's bizarre to me too. So we'll learn together. But welcome, guys. I appreciate you for being here with me tonight so we can unpack this conversation.
Good night. Good night. Good evening.
She said good evening. So, Mark, I want you to tell everybody who you are because I want to make sure that people know who you are and what it is that you do.
I'm Mark Marshall, retired military. I worked nonprofit for a little while, and I've been retired now for about maybe 3 years or so. Live in the state of Florida, and I worked with disabled veterans for a while, do a federal job, and now I'm just kind of enjoying life and an empty nester, and I like to move around a little bit.
Must be nice. Love it. Good for you. And Heather, tell everybody who you are.
I'm Heather Nash from Tulsa, Oklahoma, born and raised. We have a foundation called Deep Greenwood Foundation, and so we focus on finding descendants, certifying them, and then preserving the history of Greenwood District.
All right. Awesome. She's also a descendant of the Tulsa Race Massacre as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love just finishing her intro. I just think it's important. I think that it's good to know that we have people that are out here still fighting for what they were fighting for back then. So I appreciate
thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm sure everyone does too. Like Terry said, you're a celebrity now. That's what Terry said. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Terry.
Listen, guys, I know people may be a little confused with the title, right? Black Gold. Pray. What is the title of the show? Pray for the police. Pray for the police. And you notice that it's in quotes and it's PREY. Yeah, I did that.
Oh,
So you would realize that it's not like pray. Of course, we want to pray like for our police, but this is pray. And this subject tonight, I'm going to be honest with you, it's deep. This goes deep. Policing in this country is deep. And we look at our current events and we see all of the fighting and the cops killing unarmed black men. And we're just all so perplexed and don't understand, well, why is this happening? Well, I have an answer for you tonight and my guests as well. It's always happened. It was what they were designed for. I know, I'm getting way ahead of myself because we're going to unpack this. We're going to go back to the beginning to what the policing was and where it ended up today. We're going to talk about, have a little video and it's like 7 minutes, but I really want you guys to see it because it kind of does a preview of the black men unarmed that were killed, just kind of refresh our memories on that. Now there's so many, but these are just the ones that are in this video. And then we're going to talk about who's benefiting from when people go to prison and all of that and how that came about, because we look at criminals and then you don't realize that slavery didn't end. I know there I go being deep again. We're going to get to all of it, guys. So I want to hear from my guests. You guys tell me what do you know about policing when it comes to how policing began? Just off the riff, what do you know about it?
Well, I know that it originated from slave patrol.
Okay.
And that was a situation where there were people assigned to make sure that the slaves didn't, flee or run from their plantations or what have you, and do their assigned responsibilities, which was for manual labor. And, when you really dig deep and talk about that, as it pertains to society and how we're looked at as a people, you can kind of see where those dots are still connected.
Mm.
And you can see how that very origin is kind of what got us where we are today.
Mm.
And a lot of people don't talk about that. And even when you break it down locally, like here in Florida, you notice there's a hell of a lot more of white police officers who are guilty of shooting people regardless of color.
Right.
And there's hardly ever us as a people, as in black people, who are getting the police officers get the exact same training. So why is it always one of them shooting one of us? And when you flip the script, it's hardly ever us doing that to them, especially when it comes to the atrocities, the knees on the neck, the choking people out, the using tactics that are no longer authorized to be used by the police force. Why is it never us that's doing that? And when it is us, it's us doing it to us.
Mm.
So, and we ain't even going to talk about the silence from the black police officers as it pertains to stuff like this. I mean, job security is one thing, but all money ain't good money.
Mm.
So when you look at it from that perspective, we have a lot of guilty people in the uniform, even if it's through their complacency, them being complicit, compliant, and just quiet, because we know how deep that goes.
Yeah.
It always seemed to be somebody of a different race or nationality who's taking out whatever they're taking out on us.
Yeah.
And they can have a black cop sitting right there beside them. I never understood that. And for the people that speaks out, especially the females, the ladies who got more conscious or whatever, and when it comes to this, they get blackballed and probably fired and all of that. But it's more women that come out in our defense than the actual men who's on the site when these things are going down. I just never understood that. So
I think we're going to unpack it. I think we're gonna figure it out tonight, because I'm sure a lot of people have been wondering, like, what is this? Why is it that cops are just killing unarmed black people? And then you got the other side trying to make us think we're crazy for bringing an alarm to it.
Yes.
By and but we're gonna unpack it. What about you, Heather? What do you know about policing
I
and the
think
way
it
it works?
definitely, well, I think it definitely comes from slavery, overseers. I mean, and that's the nature of white people's beast. I mean, they don't have to follow the rules they set, but we do. So they definitely work to enforce them on us. And white America, you look at Karens today, that's part of their job is to be an overseer. When the husband left the wife from the plantation, she was the overseer, the main overseer. I mean, and sometimes they're even more cruel than the white man is.
Yeah, but they
Um,
finding out though.
yeah,
They're getting
my
some. They're getting some act right
yeah,
sometimes. Yeah.
and my son
Um.
is a police officer, so I kind of straddle the fence a little bit with it, because I also to see the black police officer side of this too. And my son, I get on to him because he's probably been a police in every city in America, as far as I'm concerned, because he's morally he can't deal with morally corrupt people, and he sees that in almost every force that he works in. The other thing that I've learned since my son has been a police officer is the fact that um, the rules allows them to be able to shoot somebody is something that we definitely have to look at too. I'll give you a quick example. Tulsa, we had Terrence Crutcher. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he was killed by a lady police officer, and she was there with the gun, and the guy that was with her had a taser. She shot the gun and he pulled the taser at the same time. So those are things
Oh,
we need to question. I mean, why was she so fearful, but he wasn't?
now Crystal says something here that's I've never heard anybody say this. She said that, as a matter of fact, I am terrified of black female officers.
Oh,
I never, because I don't think I've ever encountered a black female officer. Have you, Heather? And why do you say that, Crystal?
yeah. I think sometimes they're a little, I think women cops in general are a little bit harder on women than they are on men. I do think that.
Yeah. So I want to definitely break it down, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think frustrated is not even the right word for what I'm finding. And then when I parallel that to what I'm seeing, and when I see what I see politicians not talking about, and the things that aren't brought to the table, when I see how everything that we thought we were fighting for, they just give it a different name, guys. They give it a different name. They call it something else. They got you over here worrying about Cardi B and what's the other one, Nicki Minaj, when you don't really know what's going on in your Congress, in your country. This is the stuff that we need to talk about it. I don't care about all that foolishness right now. I just want you guys to see the parallels between policing then and policing now. Very, very similar. All right, Mark, you back? You
I'm
back? You
back.
back?
I'm back. Yeah, I got a.
Hi, hi.
I'm on my phone now. I'm normally on the computer, so it seems like
Yeah.
whenever I get a call, it knocks me out.
Well, then just tell him stop calling you. Whoever's calling Mark, he's live on the Ella Johnson Show. If you would like to see him, tune in. How's that?
Sounds
Hey,
great.
one thing I will say about the lady when she was talking about the women cops, even with women doctors, I'm not a fan of a woman doctor. I think we're harder on each other than men. I prefer male doctors because I think women are harder on us than on ourselves than, and I think sometimes black women overdo it, trying to be familiar with us because we're black. I do see that a lot of times with
And maybe that's what Crystal's talking about. Maybe they do too much, trying to
way
be
too
tough.
much.
Maybe that's what it
Yeah,
is.
standing up there, they were getting ready to arrest you, talking about, I'm gonna call your mama and tell that gets on my nerves. Black teachers do that too, and that drives me bonkers.
Really? Oh my
Yes.
goodness. No, I know in the country they would be like, all right, Ella, I know your mama now. Stuff like that. But yes, ma'am. Yes, Sharon, this is the right spot. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so excited that you're here. Marsha invited you. Marsha did the right thing. Next time you'll be here with us. How about that? So I want to break this down, guys, because we're gonna go through it. Like I said, we're not gonna finish this conversation tonight. So I'm go ahead and tell you, let's just talk and talk, because we're gonna have to finish it tomorrow. Because there's a point that the Ella Johnson show wants to make, and this is not about just griping about the past and we're just bringing up old stuff. No. This stuff is still here. Okay, that's why we're bringing it up. There are people making so much money. I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. All right. So back in 1704, this is where policing was. Let me tell you what it looked like in this country, in these United States of America. Back then, the first police, if you will, were in the South. And their legal mandate was to enforce slave codes. Now, they could enter your home. They could enter Black folks' homes. They could search any person that they wanted, use corporal punishment on any Black person that's found without a written pass. Yeah, we had to have passes and stuff. Okay. So if they caught anybody doing anything that was against the racial codes, they could do whatever they wanted to with you. I mean, I'm talking about stuff like, let's say, using white only water fountains, using white only bathrooms, anything that you did, being out at a certain time. What other kind of stuff they used to do? I have lots of notes, guys, on this stuff tonight. If you had to stay in Black only sections at the end of the day, that's it. And if you even thought you wanted to be cute and try it, they had the right to do whatever they wanted. They believed that they can see you, do whatever they need to do, and kill you on the spot. Oh, wait a minute. Is that not what happened with these Black people that are running away? They're running away and they get shot in the back, playing with a play gun, and they're just killed. And you're wondering why this type of stuff happens. This is what they were designed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Now, let me tell you what else about these slave patrols. They had a relationship with the KKK. Okay.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were buddies. Some of them were KKK, right?
Right.
Yeah. Some of them were KK. And let me tell you what they would do. Whenever someone Black would get arrested and they would get out of jail, they would turn them over to the KKK. They would turn them over to the lynch mob. Okay. This is real. I know it sounds like, come on. No, this is real, guys. This is what your policing was back then. Okay. Now we're going to move on to another era, because we're going to get through all of them, because I want you guys to see the progression. Oh, in 1865, they found a loophole. Ding, ding, ding. What was that loophole? Well, it was the 13th Amendment. Y'all remember the one where they say that there's no slavery? What does it say? Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for crime, shall exist within the U.S. Well, what do they need with criminals when they got convicts? Right? So this is where the convict leasing thing came in. We're going to talk about all that. What do you guys know about the convict leasing?
Free labor.
Laws. Talk
Yeah,
to me.
free labor.
Free labor.
Right, just a continuation of slavery.
Oh, hello there, Marsha. I'm so glad that you're here. Sharon is watching. Say hi to Sharon.
Hi,
She
Sharon.
came on. Yeah, she's here. She's here.
Excellent.
Ain't that something? But it's all good. You know we love you. Listen, this is like a revival here on the Ella Johnson Show. But I want to talk about this convict leasing, guys, because that's the thing that turned the 13th Amendment into a back door for slavery.
Yep.
Convict leasing. Have you guys ever heard of that? Marsha, have you ever heard of convict leasing?
Sure. Yeah. Your topic made me go back and look at some of Angela Davis's essays and books about the prison industrial complex. So she does a really great job of giving the history of it.
Yeah, this is when they would do things like if it started like in Mississippi. It was at the Mississippi Parchment Farm. It evolved into like the state penitentiary at Parchment. Like they would take slaves and lease them out to these private companies. Okay. And whenever they would lease them out to these private companies for free labor, now of course the state would charge them a fee and they would get free labor, but they pay them a little money. And what happened is it was getting too out of hand. Too many people were dying through this system, whether it was heat exhaustion, whatever it was killing them. And then, so it became too much of a hassle. So what did they do? They built this giant plantation and called it a prison.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. That's policing. All right. That's how they got. And vagrancy laws, you guys know it was against the law. It was a crime for a black man back in those days to not have a job if he's unemployed or if he changed jobs or if he even spoke loudly at the company. Like they would just arrest them through all of this stuff. So tens and thousands of people were arrested from these vagrancy laws.
Right.
Okay.
And just think that's the kind of stuff that built railroads. That's the way they were able to build railroads and the coal mines. And
I'm glad you said that because you guys know I'm from Alabama. In 1880, Alabama made 10% of its entire budget from leasing black bodies to coal mines. And by 1898, it had jumped up to 73%.
Wow.
This is real, guys. That's why I get so angry when I hear Donald J. Trump say stuff like, oh, they're just born to be criminals. Oh, really? Well, you're benefiting from that. Right. So I don't know what he's talking about. You're benefiting from it. We're going to talk about that too. Right. All right. So are you guys learning some stuff? This is crazy stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. It's thank you.
Oh, it had to be talked about. I don't care how long it takes us. Now let's move on to the next era, the 1950 to 1920s. This is the Wilson era and the Great Migration. I know you guys have heard about that one.
Of course.
Black Americans moved north to escape the Jim Crow South. Policing has shifted to contain them in ghettos. That's where this came from. Okay. The Wilson connection, President Woodrow Wilson's resegregation of the federal government signaled to local police that black citizens were once again second class. Redlining. Y'all remember that. The police began enforcing the borders of segregated neighborhoods. So it's continuing. The Great Migration. They're moving, but they're still faced with a lot of different stuff. Y'all ready to move to the next era? We're gonna get through this, and then we're gonna ask some questions and make comments. I want to make sure we get through all of this. 1965 to 1968. That's around the time some of us are being born. This is the militarization spark. Now, in response to the civil rights movement and uprisings in cities, the Watts and Newark president Lyndon Johnson signed the Law Enforcement Assistance Act. The Law Enforcement Assistance Act. I know I have my notes on that because that's something we definitely want to talk about. That the law. What did I say? The Law Enforcement Assistance Act. Yes. Now, this began the flow of federal money and military grade weaponry in local police departments. Now they're starting to send out all this military equipment to the local departments, and they're giving it to whomever. They're deputizing people. They are really trying to get black folks under control. You see what's happening?
Yep.
This is police that we think are here to serve and protect us. No.
Never.
No.
Never.
Say, go ahead. Was somebody going to say something?
I know. Yeah, well, you know that's still going right now.
Huh?
You look at the equipment that the police force has now.
Yes.
Militarized. All of it.
And what do they need all that for, Mark? What do they need all that for?
Hey, you said it already.
It's not a game out here, guys. And then it gets even deeper. Now in 71 to 80s, this is during our time. I know this is my time. Nixon has this war on drugs thing that he's out here telling everybody. Oh, there's a war on drugs. He declared war on drugs, which is his own advisors later admitted he was lying. Watch this. No, I'm not ready for that yet. Yes, I am going to show you. I want to show it right now because we're talking about it, and I want you guys to see that. Let me stop. I don't want to share this right now. I want you guys to see this because one of his own administrators said, "You know what? We were actually lying about that." I want you guys to see this because this is for those people that love to say, "Well, y'all ought to just stop committing crime." Like, come on, like stop committing crime and the cops won't have to pull you over. They won't have to do all this stuff to you. And we go and believe it. You know why? Because we don't know our history. All right. So we're going to debunk all that stuff because that's not what time it is. All right. Right here. His name was John.
And the Nixon
I can't say it.
After that,
Ehrlichman.
had two
That's
enemies,
his name.
the anti-left and black people.
All right. Wait a minute.
You understand what I'm saying?
Are you guys hearing it?
A little bit.
68 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies, the anti-left and black people. You understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black, but by getting the public (1968) and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies, the anti-left and black people. You understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did. Wow. So a very, very
So what do you guys think about that? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
You hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
What did you guys think about that?
It's not surprising.
Not at all.
Now,
Yeah.
No, not surprising at all.
all right,
And it's
talk
the
to
same
me.
thing. It's the same thing they're doing now. I mean, it's evolved. You know, we talk. It's evolved to crack cocaine, and then drugs have always been used against our community to make it seem like there's more criminality than there is, and then of course to come up with very heavy and harsh sentencing, which is a continuation of the prison industrial complex, or as you said, the prior name, convict leasing, which is being done by multinational corporations now.
Yeah. So what I'm wanting people to get out of this and see here is that they made it seem as if all of this that they were implementing into our country, creating these ghettos and all of this policing that was going on, is because we got a problem with drugs. They knew they were lying about that. I want you guys to pay attention to this. They knew they were lying about this so that they can be the boogeyman, like Brett talked about last night. Trump loves to have some kind of boogeyman. There's always some kind of scare tactic that he wants. This is where he gets it from. This is Nixon. He declared war on drugs. So they implemented stuff, and they knew they were targeting the black man. They knew they were doing that on purpose. And this is what frustrates me now in this country, when people continue to repeat that. Now, am I saying that they're lying about that there are some black people that are out here dealing drugs? Yeah, that's not a lie. There are people doing that. I'm not talking to them. I'm talking about the ones they're lying on. I'm talking about the ones that they're planting drugs on to create some kind of boogeyman so that we can think, oh, we need to build all these prisons. They're just going crazy. when they know they're the ones that put the drugs there to create this problem. Okay, it was like a setup. We fell for some of it, but they knew they were lying. It was not true, is my point. What do you think about that, Mark? Knowing now that, yes, when Nixon said this war on drugs and brought this out, he knew he was lying. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I mean, you know me. I like to use a lot of my own personal experience as it pertains to that. I think Nixon pretty much has some insight. You never know because they have these think tanks, and they plan things decades and hundreds of years prior to, us even catching wind of what's really going on. I think about my younger years when I first transferred from California and stopped by in the state of Texas to visit one of our classmates, Tim Tucker. You guys know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And he was working the Texas Corrections at the time, him and his little brother, Donald Ray. And believe it or not, this is 1989. And way back then, he brought to my attention about for-profit prisons. Blew my mind because I was on my way to get ready to go to shore duty. And guess where I ended up working? I ended up working corrections for the U.S. Navy in Charleston, South Carolina. But anyway, could not believe way back then, rich people could actually go out, plan it, pick a location, buy a prison. Buy a prison, build it, and hold the legislators, cops, court systems with the responsibility of filling those prisons. And that's what we're dealing with right now in 2026. And
he's absolutely
how
right.
we crazy about it, right? Who really controls the music industry? Think about that. Who really controls the music industry? Who lets what songs get through and what artists and what are they talking about in those songs? All of that goes back to us as a people and what's happening in our community. About 10 years ago, I forget what state it was, these private prisoners owners of this, prison industrial complex, they held the state accountable for not being able to keep those prisons populated. Is that crazy or what?
No, it's big business.
The system.
Yeah.
So these things are right in our face, and we already know who's the people of color make up the largest numbers in these prisons. So that's against us, and they're doing exactly what they were designed to do.
Yeah.
So us having knowledge of that and knowing how to combat that, and not bringing that type of information in our personal homes, and being able to steer our kids in the right direction to avoid that kind of stuff. That's where the rubber meets the road.
Now, speaking, go ahead. Somebody wanted to come in on that.
No, I was just gonna say what you reminded me of, Mark, is that they plan prisons, how much prisons they will need based on third grade test scores. So it kind of tightens it kind of sharpens educators like myself to work really hard, because that just blew my mind, learning that years ago. It's common knowledge now, but learning that, just knowing that, it lights a fire under you. But then you're thinking about it, and it just feels so strange and wrong. But we can change it. We can do something.
Knowledge is power. And
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, this is why I'm very adamant about making demands on people that say they're your leader. Stop just letting someone tell you they're their leader. You pick your leaders. You make sure that they are applying the standards that we need. Because let me tell you, just because people are Republicans don't mean they're a real Republican. They could be a Democrat for real. And just because they say they're a Democrat, they could really have low-key conservative values, and they're just kind of infiltrating. If they infiltrated the police force and judges and churches and all these places, what makes you think they haven't done it to Congress? All of it is. And that's why it's so important for us as voters to make a demand on your leaders and make sure that you know where they stand. Because I'm going to share with you on this broadcast, maybe not tonight, but tomorrow night, I'm going to show you what politicians are also benefiting from these prisons. And you might be surprised when you find out that it's Republicans and Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this: Oklahoma is number 50 in the state for education. Our past governor Keating, he married into a family that owned the largest prison system in the world. And they make major money, and
Oh,
it's off the backs of blacks based on those reading scores. I'm gonna tell you now, when we Deep Greenwood, one of our biggest missions is to make sure that our people are literate, and we have to be.
Yes.
We've got to be able to read, write, and do arithmetic. White people bank on the fact that we're not getting a proper education.
Mm-hmm.
And and it really boils down to reading, writing, and arithmetic. And that
Yeah.
comes, science and history comes natural if you have those three things in place.
Yeah.
yeah.
So important.
Yeah. I when we decided to do this topic, or when I decided that this had to be something, I knew that it was going to step on toes. I have no problem with that, because I don't like watered down conversations. I like conversations that get to the meat of it,
Mm-hmm.
because therein lies the problem and the solution to our problems. And I think that we are afraid to tackle it. And because I've been wondering, I don't know about you guys, but I've been wondering, why aren't the Democrats coming out with some of this stuff that I'm finding? Why? And then the more and more I dig, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm finding that they may be complicit in some of this stuff.
Of
Why
course.
isn't anyone talking about these prisons and all this money? The big,
Big
beautiful
facts.
bill. Oh, all of these prison people. I'm going to name some of the companies too, y'all. All right.
Good.
I'm
That's
going
good.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going to do
Great.
that, because I'm so tired of people halfway doing stuff. Like, I don't hear any other outlets talking about some of this stuff. Nobody is making the parallel comparisons to slavery to now.
Right.
They want to make you think that there is no racism in the US. What? That's the lie
Right.
they told you. We
Right.
know better.
Right.
We know better. Y'all don't let me. Y'all better stop me. You better throw something at me, Heather, because girl, listen, let me tell you, this kind of
Yeah.
stuff, this
Amen.
kind of stuff bothers me. It bothers me.
It's
It
troubling.
bothers me that we
Troubling.
don't know, and it bothers me that we don't speak about it.
Right. No,
And
our
it could
body.
be because we're benefiting. Yeah.
No, I was just saying that black bodies are the foundation of capitalism. And so it almost doesn't matter which like which perspective you're taking about it, whether it's the wage structure they have here, whether it's the prison industrial complex, whether we're talking about, I mean, just black bodies are oppressed black bodies, let me be clear, are the bedrock of capitalism. And so we have a system that needs overturning, and it's going to be held. But absolutely, the Democrats and Republicans, man, they're all safeguarding the same system. So they
Yes.
might figure out how to get you scraps from the table where the power players are. But this Epstein file, it's telling so much more. It's so much more than about pedophilia. It's about the way these people are so wealthy and so connected, and they can sit there and do all the vile things, but also pull the power that they have to do the vile things, but also to make themselves rulers of the universe, so to speak. I
Yeah.
mean, it's revealing so much more about the exploitative capital system, and how, like, we kind of keep our eyes on the country we're in, but the cooperation of all these other countries and how they benefit. Even if they're not quote unquote capitalists, they figure out how to align themselves with these, sick fucks and use the capital they have to build.
It's amazing you say that, Marshall, because when you look at things on the international level or the scale right now, that's exactly what we're dealing with in America. Have you noticed what they're doing in London and all of that stuff? They're firing those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People names being in the Epstein files. But when you think of America, which has always been for sale, because there's a difference between the United States and the United States of America, for those that don't know.
Tell us, what's the difference?
Well, United States is a corporation, okay?
Okay.
It's a corporation, all right? It's got patents. It's got numbers attached. It's a real business. So when you think of foreign entity, think of all these crazy things these outsiders, if you will, have been allowed to come to the United States and participate in. Now imagine that being little kids, okay? Listen to what I'm saying. Why are there still being camps and hundreds of kids being discovered in the states like Texas, and it's not making the news? Because some of those same people in the news, in charge of the news, owns the news, running the news, are in the Epstein files. Think about the gatekeepers. How do we have so much information on these people and nobody's even being interviewed? Nobody's being locked up, but we got all this distraction going on about what else is happening. And the president of the United States is in that list and on that list. And all those other people, Democrats and Republicans, and absolutely nothing done. It's money, it's power. And look at who's not on the list. How many immigrants? How many Muslims?
Speak.
Black people of color. Think about this. This is America's culture. This is what they do. And if they separate us from them, who gives a shit? It is what it is.
Yep.
Okay? This stuff has been like a rabbit hole for us for years. Yep. Those that went down the rabbit hole 10 and 12 years ago. Pizzagate. All these other companies. Think of names of people that had all these talk shows who done left the country already, knowing that this was going to happen. Think about that.
Yeah.
All these so-called celebrities.
Yeah.
Names are on that list and nobody is being held accountable.
But I want to speak up for my my hero, my childhood boyfriend. Michael Jackson was demonized by these people because he knew what was going on. I mean, he had enough power and money for people to actually be interested, and he was never interested. He was, saving kids. I never believed for a minute. That he was a pedophile. It never crossed my mind to believe it. And I don't, and
I didn't either.
And we need to take a second. We need to really pause when they're demonizing a Black person. I mean, we know the truth. I knew R. Kelly was a demon, but I'm just saying, we could see it. He did it out in the open. He wasn't even trying to hide it. But when they come at somebody who, like I said, you've never seen any measure of controversy around them at all, except the one where the white kids said he did this. You got to have more than that for me to come and for me to join your little lynch mob. So anyway, I just think about how they use that power to malign him, and he died in a somewhat strange way as well. So we got people that are disappearing. Some of these victims are disappearing. And the people that we need to disappear, they won't.
Right.
Hey,
I mean,
one thing that I think we
yeah.
have to be sometimes conscious of in what the system, like you were talking about, that these people run the system and it's the wealthy people. I went to a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and the lady, they were talking about taxation. It's about 200 people in this meeting, and they talked about the 1%ers and that they make up almost 50% of the world's wealth. That should scare the hell out of everybody.
I thought the number was higher, actually. I thought they had more.
And
I
they
was
said
getting ready to say
44 to
probably more.
48%. And
Wow.
that's scary.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
scary as hell.
that's probably old data, because I feel like within the last even just 5 years, there's been a tremendous shift in wealth. More like some estimates say, like basically 4 or 5 companies own 80% of all of the material goods that are being sold. So I don't know. I don't find that hard to believe, because they will change the name and they'll spread it out, make it look like it's different ownership, but it's not.
Now I want to point something out. My brother made a comment here, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about it. He says knowledge and action is power. That's true, because that makes a difference. Just having knowledge is one thing, but having knowledge and doing something with it is another thing.
Yeah.
So do you guys think that we have used the knowledge? Because I know I'm not the first one. You just said, Mark, that Tim Tucker told you about this way back then. What do y'all think that we've done anything with this knowledge?
No.
I'm talking both sides. No? Is that what everybody thinks? Have we done anything with it? Because we're talking about it, but are we in a position to do anything about it? And are the people who are in position, are they doing anything about it? Or are they just not interested in this? This is why I don't get so caught up in all the talk about Trump. That's why I don't care about that. I really don't care about that. This is the kind of stuff I want to see change, because it's affecting Black families. So when we see that all these Black men are being maligned, as you say, Marsha, they're doing this on purpose. What do you think welfare is? Welfare is just another form. And I know a lot of people need it. I'm not trying to discount that. What I'm saying is it is a control mechanism.
Of course.
Do we agree?
Yes.
It's a control mechanism.
Absolutely.
And it's to get the man out of the what house? You got to lie. If you got a man in the house, you got to lie about it.
You
Just to
can't
get
have it. That's right.
right?
That's right.
God forbid you want to go to school, you're going to lose it. God forbid
Right.
you go get a car so you don't have to catch the bus, you're going to lose it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's not designed to make you win. But I also feel the same way about this country.
Right.
When it comes, and I mean, let's just be real. The facts are the facts. I didn't make up this history that we're talking about tonight. This is in black and white for all to research. And when I see it, and then it's almost like I'm doing this. I'm like, wait a minute, history, current.
Yeah.
Okay, they have it called no knock, but it's something else. It's stand your ground. All of this stuff is, and I'm going, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Paralleling comparisons that we have, and nobody's paying attention. So when we have these politicians out here talking about what they're going to do, that's the kind of stuff that if I were sitting in the room, I would ask about it. What are we doing about this war on drugs that has caused so many Black men to go to prison and you guys to make money? Who's doing anything about that? Are we going to put that on the legislation anywhere? Can we do something to get rid of this once and for all? I mean, Nixon admitted that, one of his administrators admitted that they lied about that. Nobody wants to talk about that. No. Do we still have a war on drugs? No, we don't, because he lied about it. Why? I don't understand. We're still trying to build on something that was never a problem.
Right.
We just need to eliminate the problem. Right. So I don't know. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on that? That if, let me see here. Let me take a couple of comments here. Crystal, 20% of the people control 80% of the wealth. Okay.
Sure.
You guys agree with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Crystal says no. She answers the question. Thank you, Crystal. Don't I wish Crystal was here on the show tonight? Baby, if Crystal was on the show tonight, let me tell you. But she's great. I appreciate her being here. She says, no, we aren't using knowledge. We collectively don't even want knowledge. We want a party. Oh, that's deep. Now, I tend to agree with that a little. Where are you with that one, Mark? Do you agree with that a little bit, what Crystal just said?
Yeah, I agree with it. And when you think about it, a a lot of these industries that we're discussing right now, a lot of our people are the majority of the employees that's
Yep.
working. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
So the system is the system. I mean, it's just like what we were talking about earlier about the police force. I mean, why are black police so quiet? You know what I mean? Why did we never hear from the black police squads or whatever of America? Why?
They were
Yeah,
trained not to speak.
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Yeah, they got a uniform, but they have no power. They were
Yeah.
trained that way. That's
They're
part of
not
the
black.
policing.
They're
Yeah,
blue.
They're
They're
blue.
blue
yeah,
now.
Exactly.
yeah,
And that's what I mean. And you can say that
yeah.
about pretty much all industries, with the exception of a very few people that's going to stand up and do something and say something about it, and in support of the good fight.
Now, Crystal said nobody's making people sell dope. I do agree with that. I do agree with that. That was one of the things that was going back and forth on the show before, because I know Brett was on the show and he was mentioning that, well, they put the drugs there. And then Crystal says, well, nobody is making them sell the dope. So I want us to chat about that for a minute, because that is an issue. Because let's paint a picture that, okay, let's say the government did drop off a bag of heroin and all this stuff. Hey, here's a way for you guys to make some money, and they drop it there. They're expecting them to, and then on top of that, they're expecting a cut. Ain't that something?
Yep.
Y'all don't think the police are getting paid off these drugs and stuff, man? Listen, come
Of
on, come
course.
on. I think
For black,
anybody that's in prison right now for selling drugs should be let out. Why? Because now the government's making money off of it.
Mhm.
well,
Anyway,
Well,
if
one
you
thing I do think is that when we're talking about drugs, they decided it wasn't really about. I get the part where nobody told them they made the rules based on the drugs
selling,
snorting cocaine. So
right,
those that were snorting cocaine got a lesser charge, and that's more
That's right.
pure than crack. And so
Right.
I think we've got to really dig deep about why people think. They're thinkers, and they get the freedom to be thinkers while we trying to struggle to work and make it happen at
Mm-hmm.
home. They
Mm-hmm.
up thinking. So we've got to be just like them and pay attention to the laws, read what they're saying, because people are in prison for crack for life.
right.
Right.
It's and cocaine is purer than crack.
That's
Right.
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 so why
And
do we sell drugs? Why do we sell
look
drugs?
at the difference that America's treated the epidemics that happened in one community as opposed to the other. Look at how we had to fend for ourselves during the crack epidemic. Look at the politician that came on the news and said, "This is your brain on drugs with the little eggs cracking in the
Well,
skull."
yeah, it was all theater.
Now,
Yeah.
what happened during the opioid uh, uh, epidemic, where it affected the white community? Okay, look how the television shows, the news,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
about, and now what is it? Fentanyl or whatever?
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey,
Yeah. I mean,
people
they
of
made
color,
it look like, oh, these poor just they fell off, and
They
oh,
get
and
counseling.
they're victims, and never, but the when blacks are the sinners, they're just
right?
dregs of society, and they were born fiending for it.
Yeah.
No, no.
And look at the programs. Look at all
Mm-hmm.
the programs that were created as a result of the opioid epidemic that
Mm-hmm.
supposedly affected the white community more than any other community.
Right.
All the nonprofit organizations get all this money to help with housing and job assistance and resume assistance and all these different things to get them back on track.
So
Right.
are
Especially
you guys saying then that these guys had no other option but to sell drugs? Is that what we're saying? Because I don't want to move past this, because I really want, especially if they're young people watching this, we do have to make better choices.
That's
I do agree with that, but what do we think drove them to that? Because just because they dropped it off,
mhm.
they could have dropped drugs off here, and I would have just threw them away or
Right. Right.
gave it back, because I'm not fixing to sell
Right.
drugs. I'm not going to smoke it.
Right.
So what the real problem? Because y'all, what I'm getting at. Y'all remember when on one of the shows I showed a clip from Remember the Titans? We were
Mhm.
talking about the monkey trope. And
Mhm.
this fool, oh Lord, don't let me call the president a fool. It just slipped. Heather, help me. Pray for me. In tongues right now. Pray for me. But when all that whole thing came out, and I showed a clip on the show of Remember the Titans, where the coach, when they're now in the national championship, and you know how coaches normally share tape with one another, and he went on the news and said, "I'm not trading anything with that monkey." And I know that a lot of people had never really paid attention to that part in the movie, but it was there.
Mhm.
And I proposed to the group, okay, what did he do about it? What did he do about it being called a monkey? He won the game.
Right.
He
And,
won the game.
Right.
and not
Right.
And so my thing is, if we want to fight racism, we just have to do better.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna fight it. Marching ain't gonna do it, because I don't think it did it when Martin Luther King was
Singing
alive.
ain't either. I'm sick of the singing.
What singing?
If they sing one more song.
I think winning is the solution. And
Right.
nobody wants to address that part of it, but that's really where it is.
Right.
But
If
the
we don't
winning
want
is,
them making money off prisoners, don't go to prison.
but
Right.
I
Right.
think the winning is, and I'm just saying this because this is the way I look at it. I do believe we got to win, but our winning is that it has to be strategic and we have to do it. And that
Right.
is, I
Yeah.
really believe, I truly wholeheartedly believe that education is the key. Literacy specifically. If we got people who can read and write, they're more apt to do positive things. A lot of the kids that we struggle with, and I said this on one of my TikToks, I had 9 kids in 15 years. I don't know if you guys know, but Tulsa's been on First 48, I think 18 years.
Mhm.
I had 9 clients either commit a murder, was
Right.
murdered, or witness to a murder that was on
Right.
First 48. All those kids had in common was they were not good readers at all. They were out of
Really?
school. I'm telling y'all, a lot of behavior changes when they can read well. You don't see that many kids that are in trouble. If you go to the prison, one of their most commonalities is going to be that they cannot read.
Right. You know, literacy is important. It's important for a lot of different reasons.
Yes.
And you know, I mean, it's unfortunate that we, you know, it can be tough. You know, you think about our Black households, and you know, when if your mom's working late, your dad's working late. I mean, you know, I'm just saying it can be tough. It can be tough, but I'm not making excuses. All I'm saying is we really like Ella's saying, we really have to work together as a community, and that's something that's difficult. It's difficult for us to align ourselves with our neighbors, with our families, and just be those supports. And when I'm talking about, you know, Ella, we were fortunate to come up in a really close knit community. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like it.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like, you know, I could go to my cousin's house and I could play with her little baby Samantha, and I could read to her, and we, you know, we could do things together. And of course, we had a community that saw education as as a very important thing. I mean, I remember, you know, you remember the Amen Corner, Ella? You
Oh
know the
yeah.
Amen Corner? You know what I'm talking about? Where the
Yeah.
where the
Yeah.
retired bus driver sat under this tree uh in front of my Aunt Sally's house over by the store, right?
Yep. Yep.
These men were like the mayors of our community, right? These elders sat there, they watched us get off the bus, they knew who we were talking to, who we were playing with. I remember one of those Mr. Whitey went and told my mom, she got off the bus and went down the road with that so-and-so gal and blah blah blah. And I said, doggone it, what what kind of spies are you guys? But I know now that that was the way our community worked, that those men were watching over us, you
Yeah.
know, and they told our parents what we were doing. You know, I get off the bus and maybe
But
I'm
that
into a,
community is gone now. That community is gone
I
now, Marcia. Yeah,
know,
they're
I
gone.
know, but
Yeah.
what can we do? You know, now I don't live there anymore. You don't live there anymore. And then our elders, the corporations destroyed our community. Walmart destroyed our community. I'm just tell you like it is. Capitalism and the North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement destroyed our hometown. And they did it like a lot of hometowns, because when we had a town square, and it wasn't the greatest thing, right? Because I don't know too many Black people that had a store in the town square, but we did have a town square. And when Walmart came into that community, they were able to outprice everybody because it's Walmart.
Yeah, all that money they're making out prisons.
They could outprice everybody and drive everybody else out of business, because everybody gonna go, whatever, I could get everything cheaper over at Walmart. So what they did was destroy the economy of our precious little hometown. But
Everybody's fighting the wrong war.
and so
that's the problem.
It's like so I teach that lesson in my social studies class when I was working with middle schoolers, how NAFTA destroyed a lot of small cities, and the capitalists came in and ran it. So our community, people are working at Walmart, they're making this little tiny hourly wage, barely any benefits. And then they might get subsidized, and then they get the food stamps and spend them right there too, continuing to enrich the capitalists that came and destroyed them. And the city gives them tax breaks for setting up the business in the town.
So guys, let's talk about what we need to do. I hear what we're saying about what they're doing, but we can fix this ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Now you mentioned that they go to Walmart and they're turning around buying their stamps, and the money is just staying right there, staying right there. The truth is that there are some people that do need the assistance. Not everybody that's on stamps, food stamps, don't have a job. Okay, they just need that as that supplement because their job doesn't pay them enough.
Right.
And I think
I'm talking about the people that work at Walmart need the food stamps. Do you understand?
Definitely.
Walmart could afford to pay them. I mean, there's an economist who said that Walmart, and he said this years ago, like at least 10, 15 years ago, Walmart could have paid every employee $100 an hour and still be the top 1, 2, 3 business in the U.S. still. But
so why don't they, Marsha? Why haven't they?
Greedy.
Why don't they pay them more?
Maybe we don't demand it. Maybe we need to demand it.
Who should demand it?
We boycott them. I don't know.
But we tried that. But some people can't stay away from Walmart. We tried that. Now what?
So hard, man. Because we got to create our own businesses too. That's the other thing. We're consumers. We're consumers. We're terrific consumers.
I heard, I don't know if it was Crystal, T.I., or somebody say that when we go to school, we're taught to work for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
They don't, right?
That's it.
That's like the plan, and that's exactly what we do.
That's it.
I want to talk about this right here, because I've had this sitting here because I'm looking at this comment and I'm like, wow, Crystal says you can't help Black people save their children. They'll cuss you out, tell you to mind your business. Do you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Yes. You didn't hesitate, Mark. Mark says, yeah.
I mean, back in the day when we were coming up, even our neighbors could discipline us.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
And the news normally got back home before we did. But we are right now, can't nobody even really talk to our kids.
So then why do we care about trying to work with people that don't want better? Why should we, me, Heather, you, Marsha, the Ella Johnson Show, and all these organizations out here, why should we try to, okay, let's pull them along? I know they want to go, but we got to do something. Or should we? Should we just say to hell with it? When you guys want to do better, then we'll worry about you.
You mean Black?
Yes.
Well, I do think that, this is my opinion, I just think that we come together as a package. I mean, I remember my grandmother was good friends with Ed Bradley that was on 60 Minutes. I
Oh,
remember him telling us that he was driving a BMW in LA and they pulled him over, had no clue who he was. So a black man in the BMW that's a news caster or whatever you want to call him, and a black man that's a dope dealer, the white man only see a black man in the BMW. So for us, we come as a package. We have to kind of collectively work together for the betterment because we are chosen based on our skin color, which is the most visible thing that they see. So I think we have to some degree no choice but to work with each other.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Capitalism did not destroy anything. Black folks' refusal to embrace capitalism and commerce is what's killing them. Do we agree?
Well, I think we're talking about ownership. I don't. Is that what we mean, Krista? I think we're talking about ownership. Like we
Said,
need
how did
more people.
capitalism destroy black communities when black folks didn't own anything in the towns and community?
Okay,
How did
but that's
capitalism destroy?
structural. Let's remember.
It's
I mean,
systematic. You
yeah,
can't.
we're talking about Greenwood. We're talking about what happened in Rosewood. I mean, I'm talking about Greenwood, Archer, and all those. We're talking about all these tragedies that happened. Black people did own things, and we talked about how in Oklahoma, black people owned oil fields, but of course they were
It still do.
and still do, and yes, but they, they, I mean, lynching um was a was an economic move. Many of the men who were lynched, frequently were owners, were business owners, were entrepreneurs, were well to do, and these white people got really jealous, and so there's a legacy of agony that's been created by families, black communities, that were burned or bombed or
Or
they
flood.
just
Or
or
flood.
flooded, right? So they, it wasn't so. It's I just don't want it to convey a lack of character or leadership or drive.
Yeah, or
Black
black.
people had that in droves. I mean, think about the fact that everyone thinks that Edison invented the light, but it wasn't him. He stole it from a black man. Um, and lots of other things are like that. Really ingenious people. I don't know if I'm calling his name properly. Jan Metzlinger. It's like a German last name, but he was a black person. And he is the very reason that our shoes are designed the way they are right now. And he got
Right.
exploited for the machine that he created that is still being utilized, in
Right.
large part. The design is still pretty much the same. And he died broke. He died penniless because he was exploited by the
They're
system.
going to continue to do that. I don't care how
Yeah.
much money you have, how many degrees you have. They're going to continue to do that because, like you said, with the scenario with the educated person in the bins and a drug dealer in the bins, you're looked at. That's the
Black
same.
friend.
Right.
Yeah, they're going to still do that. But my question here is how do we move from, okay, we know what they're up to. We know what they have been up to. We know all of this. If you had to speak to 100 young African American kids right now, based on what we've learned so far on this show, what would you say to them? Because that's where it starts. We have to take this knowledge that we have and use it to change the community. How do we do that? I want to start with you, Heather, with everything that you've learned about policing, knowing that the police are going to rough them up because that's what they were trained to do. They weren't trained to be community oriented. They're patrols. They patrol black folks and keep them in line. And that's what they're still doing. So if you had to speak to 100 young African-American kids, what would you tell them knowing that now?
If I had to speak to 100, I would definitely stress the importance of education. I definitely think that education is the thing. I think we also have to make it clear to children that our children, because I listen to black kids talk all the time and they think that they're as equal as white kids. But the American society, which is ran majority by white folks, don't see them that way. White kids come in this world knowing that they're kings and queens. We doubt that for ourselves because we don't have a connection to what our history really is. We're gonna have to make clear they're gonna have to be educated. They're gonna have to know history because history kind of plays a role in your future. I think that we're gonna definitely have to get parents on board and really to change the philosophy of somewhat going back to the old way of making sure that our kids get good discipline and understand, because they need to understand that this is systematic and it's systemic that's happening to us.
Mm-hmm.
It is intentional.
But then
Right.
we'll turn around and go buy $200 sneakers, and they
Right.
can't even fill out a job application.
Well,
We'll
Right.
I'll
go
say
and give them all of these prizes, $500 to $600 phones, and they don't even know their history. Like, we are the ones that need the help first, parents.
exactly, the parents,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. We did a program. I think I told you this that last week. We did a program and it was to teach kids to be less of consumers and more producers. So we created a farm and they had to learn about the seed, how the seed
Amen.
grows, and then they put
Number
it in the
one.
plant. And this was the way that they were able, because you can talk to kids right now and ask them where the cereal come from, and they'll tell you to come from a box. This this
Right.
how
Right.
this so
Heather.
That's
I
right.
think
That's right.
I think we just have to go back to the basic. I know
Yeah,
people, and I hear people
that's
say
right.
this all the time. They should know that. We need to expect that they don't know.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
think we're the problem. I think
Yeah,
we're
Yeah.
part of the problem, parents.
Right.
I
Right.
do.
Yeah.
I think we are part of the problem, not demanding that our kids know. Put that phone down. First of all, why do you
exactly.
have a phone? You don't even make A's and
Thank
B's.
you.
What
Right.
do
Right.
you need it
Right.
for? You are
Right.
failing, and you've been in the sixth grade 3 times, but they're walking around with $200 shoes on.
That's a fact.
That
That's
is
a fact.
foolishness.
Yeah, it
That's a
That's
fact.
is.
foolishness. I
That's a
can't get
fact.
down with
Totally.
that. I
Right.
can't.
Yeah, no, I mean, food, producing our own food is big. Like, um, my uncles, my mom, they all grew food, and I had this tiny,
Yes.
I had this tiny backyard here in New York. But I tried my hand. I got a few tomato plants back there. But I'm telling you, our forefathers, our ancestors, they figured a way. I mean, we don't need to we don't need to we have a glorious past. I mean, given what we as a people went through, we have a glorious past. So we have to teach it. We have to keep it in their minds all the time. We have to challenge them. We have to challenge all the lies that exist in the thing that we call his story, because it is his story. And we need to make sure. I just think that esteem building is so important. When you make sure that our Black children know that they are the sons and daughters of Isis, that they are the sons and daughters of the most brilliant, creative group of people in the universe,
Yeah.
that all the Greeks and everyone that they lauded with knowledge came to Timbuktu to be
Yeah,
educated. They
Yeah.
yeah,
came to the centers of Africa and Egypt to learn what all about the universe, because that was where the information was. So it's critical that our children know who they are, what they came from, and that they can build their own, do their own thing. I mean,
Right.
grow their own thing. I mean, it's all about ownership and self-reliance. What can we do on our own? What can we do? What can you do? What is your Ella? You've got so many talents. I've got talents. Mark, you're amazing. The sister Heather, all of us know something. If we could model a thing that we have for our youth and help our youth find their thing that they know, that they have, that they can do, and we can undermine this idea of dependence. And of course, like I said, we have the legacy that we have is brilliant and beautiful, but also painful. But if we were maybe focused on the brilliant and the beautiful part, not the part
So
where.
I wanna address this right here because my brother says that as long as Dr. King was talking about voting and
Mm-hmm,
other rights, they tolerated him. As
mm-hmm,
soon as he started talking about economic empowerment, they
that's right.
turned up the heat and killed him.
Mm-hmm,
Fact. You just
yep.
asked if we was in the we could talk to 100 youth or what would we recommend?
Yes,
Type of stuff that we need to talk about. As in AI of today is the Amazon of yesterday. Kids
Mm-hmm,
need to be learning, they need to be learning skill sets as in trades. You know,
yes,
everybody's
yes,
cut out to go to college. Everybody's not cut out to go and play for the NBA, NFL, and all of that stuff. But if you learn the trade, there's a reason those things was taken out of the school systems.
that's
You know,
right.
exactly.
and there's a lot of money into that.
Yeah,
But when you talk about, educating people in regards to financing and Roth IRAs and wealth,
yep, yep, yep.
that's what we need to talk about. Because think about it. Even though they just recently moved the goalposts, isn't it amazing, actually miraculous, in spite of all that we have went through as a people?
That's right.
Number one group of people who are most educated in the world right now is
Black women.
the black woman. Think about that. So when you talk about parenting, you talk about households. Women run the households. Now, of course,
And that's why
women
we got to get women together. That we got to get women together. We too busy out here. I like the line dancing. I love it. But let's move on, Heather. Okay? We got a country out here to save.
because it
The
seems
line dancing and all that, that's cute, but that's not going to save us.
that's right. And it seems that women of yesterday, even less educated, with less resources,
That's right.
did more as it pertains to the kids than what
That's
we're
right.
today. But we know where that came from. You guys discussed
Yeah.
it earlier, as in the system, men being removed from the house, all of those things affected that. So there's a lot of individuality that's been taught.
Yeah,
Self dependence, being,
yeah.
being a strong black woman. And you know what that does for the nuclear family.
Right.
And we're all being affected by that right now.
Dictionary.
Heather, Heather, are you laughing at this comment too?
Yes.
Crystal said, how's a child going to know anything when their mama ain't got no damn sense? Mama want a wig more than a dictionary or skill building software.
My delivery
Love
was,
it to Crystal.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just the way she says it. Crystal is
what do
very
we?
raw, guys. Like, listen. And don't get to tell them the Africans sold their own people into slavery so they can stop believing that they should just trust somebody just because they're black.
Okay, now
Oh,
hold on. I'm gonna
That's
stop
deep
you right
right
there.
there.
I'm gonna stop you
oh
right there.
boy.
Yeah, I like
I'm
to
gonna stop
comment.
you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there. That's a myth.
Uh-oh.
That is a myth that white people love to repeat. So hopefully you didn't get that out of a social studies class. But I'm telling you, they do say it a lot in social studies class. I remember meetings that I had when I was doing middle school social studies, and white people love to say that. That's their excuse. Well, the other tribes sold their. No, they did not sell them. Number one, Africa was, of course, a place of many different communities. So the communities, yes, they fought, but they fought just like other communities did. They fought for land. Now, what most of those tribes did, they could expand their communities, and they didn't have to, enslave the community. They expanded their community. They said, okay, if you give us tribute is the payment that you give to the new ruling clan or whatever. If you give us tribute, then you're a citizen of our community. So they made those people citizens. That is what happened all over the land. So please don't buy into that nonsense. They love to promote that one. And I've had to stand down in many meetings about it, the nonsense they tell about other Africans. What you don't know, what they didn't tell you, is that many Africans went to war with the people who came and tried to take Africans off that continent. Okay, but you didn't learn that part, right? Because they don't tell it. They're not telling you. I mean, just think about it, Mark. If somebody showed up in your backyard trying to take your son off, what you gonna do? You gonna fight like hell.
Somebody,
I mean,
somebody gotta die.
somebody
Somebody
gotta
gotta
die.
die.
I'm just saying, nobody let somebody come into their backyard, into their home, and kidnap their children without fighting back.
Right.
So that's the part of the history that got omitted. Many Africans died, many kings fought, and many white people died too in the process of trying to take Africans. So, let's be clear that there are a lot of stories that we learned. It's not our fault. We learned the wrong story. I remember one time I came home and I was talking to my mom about some strange economic thing. I can't remember the exact detail, but it was something about farming, and it was something that was happening on the political landscape of the time that I was in high school. And my mother listened. She, she tried to entertain me. She forced me to think, but at some point she got tired of the explanation I was giving her, and she said, "I'm tired. I'm tired of you telling me Grip's philosophy of economics. Tell me what you think." And I never forgot that. My mama put me down, man. It hurt my feelings because I wanted her to believe I was smart. I want to be smart like her. But she was like, she made it clear to me that I sat there and I ate that bullshit that Professor Griffin was giving us, Coach Griffin. That's it, and I said, oh yeah. And that is in the moment when I realized the power that a teacher has. Man, they can take your mind from you. You think you're getting an education. No, you're not. You're learning what they want you to know. And so from that time on, I have always insisted on independent thinking for myself and for my students. I ask them, what do you think of that? I'm not just telling you what to think. I want you to show me how you think, because that's important. I mean, that's the skill. It's not the education. It's the ability to think, to take a set of circumstances and see what makes sense. Does that make sense? Then question it.
Right.
Find out. Go to other sources. So don't get brainwashed, and please look at everything.
Why is it though? I like that you're saying that independent thinking, but when it comes to the church, we don't do that.
No, you don't, because you're being adopted. But
and I think that's part of the problem.
I think that's part of the
problem. What'd you say, Mark?
Additionally, not only were we being misled when it came to slavery, let's not forget about where we are. We're indigenous people. They're still digging up black people all over the world. We know that every other nationality came from us as black people. Okay? We're indigenous. Everybody didn't come on no damn slave ship. Okay? We got records to show that our people have always been here, right here on this land in the United States of America.
All right, Crystal is bringing us with a real challenge tonight. She said, that's why most African countries are shithole countries now, and every town that's run by black people the same way. What do you guys think about that? Now, Crystal is very raw with that. She's saying that when you have black towns that are run by black people, that they're the same way. Do we agree with that? Do we think that's not all of them, or is there an explanation? I mean, where are we on that?
Well, if you speaking in the sense of a lot of sound bites and MAGA and Trump and a lot of other stuff dealing with party affiliation right here in the United States in regards to Democrat and Republican, there's a lot of truth in what she's saying, especially as it pertains to party affiliation. But hell no, I disagree in the sense of we got brilliant people who are black. And all cities and states are not the same. I mean, the last thing I'm going to
name a city that's run by a black mayor that you think is progressing.
A city ran by a black mayor that I think is progressing. Well, it ain't got to be
DC.
People of color, right?
Yeah.
New York.
DC.
New York.
Oh, that was
I
cute.
think all cities are functioning.
I'm talking about somebody. Give me another one.
I think DC and Atlanta are good examples. I think all cities are ran well. They all have dysfunction, white or black. It doesn't matter. I
Right,
mean,
right, right,
we got, and I'll say this: Tulsa, it was corrupt before we got our first black mayor that we have now. So
right,
they get to hide their truths. Ours is
right.
in I mean, we get polarized when we do something. So I
Yeah,
don't think there's any city running better than any other city based
Me,
on race, period.
me either.
right.
And I do self-reflection. I look in the mirror first. So my business is at home.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I
Right.
look at what was presented to me and who I had the partnership with, as in my kids. You get what I'm saying? So everybody needs to take accountability for themselves first. It's everything starts at home and everything is internal. It don't start from the outside.
I'm glad you said that. That's what
Okay.
we're gonna do tonight. Before we move on to talk about these unarmed black people that have been killed by police, I want to talk about that. You said it starts at home. Now, when you say that, because that's a very general statement, what do you specifically mean when you say it? Are you talking about their education, teaching them about God, teaching them about school? What? Tell us
Everything.
everything. Okay.
Comment I had earlier about the prison industrial complex and what my brother Tim. Those are things that when you have black sons and black kids, those are things that's right here on your mind when you're raising those kids. So you do everything within your power to make sure they go in the right direction. And it
Mhm.
starts at home. You know what I mean? It's just like no different than you going out to your local supermarket and you see a kid that's acting crazy and their parent want to discipline at the store, knowing damn well they let that shit happen at their house every day.
Say it and then get out in public. Come on now,
Yeah,
you know he's running things at the house. Don't try it.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
yeah. I like what this
Mhm.
person here says. Lie detector two says, my humble opinion, desegregation destroyed black people. Our
I told.
desperate need to be accepted and or invited to sit at a table we didn't need to sit at destroyed us.
I totally agree.
Mm,
I think we were way more educated. I think we valued education. I think we did better working. We were more independent. Think about the government programs when they started weren't even for us. We were making it happen regardless.
yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Let me bring Marsha back. There you go,
I'm sorry.
Marsha.
Sorry.
Crystal,
No.
right,
Yeah.
Heather? I see you cracking up over there. Crystal, she
She's on
comes with
fire
it.
tonight.
Yes. She said, how can a group of people unify when they're too sorry to keep up the yard and street where they live?
Yeah. I don't know, but we just have to model. We have to bring them along, I think.
No, we
I
just
do
need to be
agree.
honest with people. I don't
Yeah.
like sugarcoating stuff. If
Right.
I'm living in this neighborhood and I'm going to find my peace and rest here, you're gonna have to clean up your yard. You're gonna have to keep your dogs from running all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't want to see trash. I don't want to hear all this stuff. I want when I've had a long day, I want to come home
Yeah.
and rest. Who doesn't want that?
Peace.
If you don't want that, raise your hand. Everybody wants that, right?
We
So
want
why can't we be honest and say this is what we want and worry about offending people? No, if I'm gonna pay to live in this neighborhood, I want what I want. I'm not gonna settle for less. And there's nothing wrong with that. Why do we find ourselves feeling like we have to apologize for that because they're black?
Yeah,
I,
and
I
they
wouldn't
feel
say
sorry.
I wouldn't say apologize, but I do think that I mean, you know, I'm just saying, in as much as we are human, in as much as we are often people are sensitive, I think about trying to be calm. I think about just
Yeah.
I think about problem solving. Like when you deal with youngsters, you could say, didn't I tell you to get that off the floor? But or because I'm required to be professional. I can tell my children, I don't have children anymore. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? I can tell the people in my house, get that, But if you are if you're dealing with other people and you don't know where they're coming from, I live in New York. I live in New York. You don't know where they're coming from. You just want to be chill about it. Like, oh wow, I see. I can help you with that if you would like. I don't want your help, but I'm just saying there's a way to approach anything, and spirit will guide you. You don't have to, you don't
Well,
necessarily have to be aggressive about it.
No,
well,
it's
there's
not.
laws. There's
Yeah.
laws that we can enforce that. And I'm gonna tell you that happens in Tulsa. I ended up having to move. I always wanted to live in a black neighborhood. My mama tortured me living in a white neighborhood. And so
Yeah.
when I got grown and got on my own, I made sure that my kids lived in a black neighborhood. My last child hated living in the black part of town because it was so depressing to him. It was messing with his psyche. So I ended up having to move downtown into a high rise just to get him mentally back stable because he
Are you
hated looking at
serious?
North. Yes, he
Wow.
hated looking at North Tulsa. But I'm gonna tell you what the biggest disaster is. We vote people in office based on the fact that they're black or they're a sorority member or fraternity member, and then they don't do their job. And there's
Ugh.
a such thing called code enforcement. And code enforcement never enforces in black areas because that elected official got all these homies, they got all, and it just creates this craziness in our black communities. Our leadership that is supposed to be representing us in an elected space is not doing their job. So some
Mm-hmm.
things we don't have to tell them. There's laws that should be enforced in our communities. So in some ways,
Very
I don't
good
blame
point.
Crystal.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but including
No,
too.
we need to hold people
Uh,
accountable. I'm not suggesting that we don't hold people accountable. Um,
Because
and
I'm not
that's
living
it.
in a neighborhood that's not comfortable. I'm not doing it.
Right.
I don't care.
Um,
I'm not
And
doing it.
I
I don't care
did
if I
it.
got to
And
move with Chinese if I have to. I'm going to
yeah,
be comfortable.
I
Yeah,
did it.
we
And
work
you know
hard,
what?
and we want to be comfortable, right?
Exactly.
of
I did
course.
it. I
Of course.
lived in a black neighborhood and didn't realize how it was affecting my two sons. Not me and my daughter, but me and my two sons were definitely struggling with uh the the depression of what the community looked like.
Yes. Yes. Lie detector. That's interesting. I wanted to. I think that's an interesting remark. I'm sorry. I'm going back to my mom because a lot of these conversations where we talk about the schools and what happened in the transition to desegregating schools. My mother lived through that as an educator, and she talked about it a lot. As a matter of fact, she had planned to write a book about it, but unfortunately, she died a couple of years into retirement. But she spoke about it all the time, like how, like it might have been possible that your black teacher may not have been as degreed, but that teacher cared about those students. They cared about the progress that was being made by black kids. And so we fought for the right. They fought for the right to put blacks and whites in schools. But did we fight for black teachers? You know what I'm saying? Did we fight for humane treatment? Did we fight for equal treatment? No, the fight was just to get a black kid in that school, and it might be 5 black kids and 250 white ones, and they're going to be tormented. And so, yeah, we did lose things. That transition, uh, we took a loss. There's no doubt about it.
I like this what lie detector says. They said we should have demanded new books like the white school had, new desks, new microscopes, instead of trying to come together. Because once we did come together, like you said, we were tortured.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But think
So
about it. But think about in history, we weren't, when we were talking about separate but equal, we were asking for the books. We were asking, white people want to take it on themselves to be our problem solver. They
Mm-hmm.
thought they're the ones that suggested that we be able to integrate into
somebody had
their
to agree to
schools.
it. Did we agree to it?
We didn't. We were asking for equal but separate but equal.
Separate
We
but
were
equal,
asking for
right?
the books. So white people took it on themselves to move to the next step. They forced integration, not black people. We weren't looking for that. We wanted the same. We wanted what they had in their schools. If you
Right.
go look back in history, that's what they're talking about. Black people never asked to move out of the community, but we got this insecurity about, we think if we live in their neighborhoods, we have arrived. And then when we arrive in their neighborhoods, they move.
Okay. Well, the reason separate but equal got struck down was because they would never do it. Like, there was a, okay, they continued to give subpar materials. And so the court said, okay, there's no such thing as separate but equal. We see now that everybody's just going to have to go together because nobody would honor the separate but equal, and they couldn't compel them to do it. They said, okay, I tell you what we do, everybody going to the same place. But they didn't do that right either, because the thing about putting a handful of Black kids in a room with 40 or 50 white ones was just all around a horrible situation to put them through. But thank God.
So Mark, I want you to comment on this one. Lie detector says we should have continued using the Black neighbor mechanic, electrician, plumbers.
Right.
The only thing we should have demanded was the vote and the desegregation of travel light buses because we paid. What do you think about that?
Well, it's been proven, through Black Wall Street and a lot of other locations that we were self-sufficient and had everything we needed before they came in and destroyed everything. All the we have created and produced, and invented. We've literally invented every damn thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. We found that out when we did that show, right, Heather?
Yes.
There ain't no other entity out there that shares our contributions to the world.
Nobody.
Let's be honest about it. So that's what I stand on. I don't.
So I want to take us
this,
back to
the
right. I'm sorry, you were breaking up, Mark. Wait, finish your thought. What were you saying?
Yeah, so that's what I go back. I mean, I'm very optimistic. I kind of try to keep the sense of a child in my thoughts, and when you spark that light and that energy in that child, they beg for more. You know what I mean? They really it oozes out their pores that give me more, teach me more. I need to learn more, and kids are resilient. So think about yourself when you was a child and you had a certain teacher that sparked interest in you that made you want to
be absolutely.
So I like to think that everybody has that, not just us as a people. I really like to think that everybody has that.
I'm sure.
So we're gonna address the home thing one more time before we go back to the policing. But because she addressed your comment that we shouldn't have to go through code enforcement. People should just have pride. I remember a day when Black people really did have more pride in where they lived, how we dressed, how we presented ourselves. The B word, and we think that's cute. And I don't know where all that stuff came from, but I don't know if it came from music. And we just kind of gotten used to it. And then if someone says you're B or you disrespecting me, well, you just called yourself that, I mean, I wish we could I know those are small things to think about, but they yet have been so big because now you're teaching your daughters to do it. That's where the tragedy is. I can be myself. Yeah, but you got 5 young ladies watching you, 4 young ladies in your household, seeing you do, and it just, I mean, it's not a thing to judge, but these are the kind of things that if we want to stop this systemic racism that's going on in this country, we can do it with excellence.
That's right.
By drowning out all that foolishness and just being excellent. That's it.
Well, if you think about it, if we're talking about we don't need code enforcement because what was her statement again? We don't need code enforcement.
Yeah, she said. I'm gonna go find it for you.
Okay.
Because what I was gonna say was she needs. I mean, not her, but
this is it. This is what she said. It shouldn't take code enforcement to make a trifling ninja not be like locusts and destroy everything everywhere they go.
It shouldn't
take code enforcement.
But we got to look at reality. That's what it is. And so we need to make sure the code enforcement reinforces the law, period.
Right.
Because
And you
they're
know,
not going to.
and I have a story with that, because like you guys have heard me talk about, I used to be in property management, and
Mhm.
on purpose, I think they would always give me all of the predominantly Black communities because nobody else wanted them. I mean, that's just real talk. They were huge complexes, and there was mostly Black people there, and they called it, that was their way of testing me out to see
Mhm.
what I was really working with. Now, when I went into these Black communities, my first thing, I assessed the community, see what we're working with, see if there's any damage, see what immediate changes we need to make. And so when I'm walking through, the first thing I saw was that there was no pride. People just had changed the uniformity of the place. They got green blinds and black blinds and all of this foolishness, and it just looks horrible, trash everywhere, kids tearing. And I'm assessing this, and I'm like, am I supposed to say what I see or come in here and be like everybody else? And I said, Ella, you were not made that way. That's exactly what they think that these people are going to expect of you, to do it like everyone else has done. I said, no, I got to get better results. So if you do what you've always done, you're going to continue to get what you've always had. That's insanity to think it's going to be different. So for me, I said, no more of this. Oh my God. I was called all kind of Uncle Toms and all. We don't want you here. We want that white lady back. And I'm just like, guys, all I did was say that we are going to make this place look uniform. That's all I said. And I got so much. Why, Mark? Why was that the response? I don't know. I guess I expected them to be a little bit more kinder to me because I was African American. I really did. But they were harsh. And I compare that to properties that I managed where it was not predominantly Black and it was different. Why is that?
You know why? Because that's
Yeah.
we're the worst when it comes to the way we interact with our own people.
Oh,
Mhm.
I was very
And
disappointed.
me,
Yeah.
that goes back to slavery,
It does.
the conditioning of the mind.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we have to go within,
Mm-hmm.
because we're looking at things externally.
Right.
Once you go in, establish yourself, and you get their buy-in, and now that things start to change, and you bring that up far where it's supposed to be, the first thing they're gonna do is get you out of there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
proving yourself, and now they're gonna they're supposed to elevate you because you came in and did what probably the last 3, 4 people couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
But that separates you
Because
from
they ran them out. They ran everybody else away. That's what
yeah,
really happened. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So just to tell you guys how that story ended, they did not run me away. I let them vent. Nobody touched me though. I let them vent, say what they wanted to say, and then I proved them wrong. And then we became this top complex that now people want to come into because we cleaned it up. And I'm like, guys, just trust me. I'm not trying to. And I'm like, what culture? What you trying to change things? Who thinks it's okay to just look raggedy? Who? Because I wasn't taught that. We weren't taught that. I'm sorry. I don't know. I know I'm a country girl in the big city of Tampa, Florida, and everything at that time. But come on, I could not believe the mindsets that I was dealing with. I wasn't ready for that because I'm not used to that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is some of the reasons why our communities don't change, because we're met with that kind of thing when we try to go in. So then we end up just taking our money somewhere else and investing somewhere else.
So
And
you
most,
had to become code enforcement.
most people
It low key, Heather, yeah. I mean, I'm not a pushover, so I was not gonna let. I mean, they were even doing death threats on me because they were like, "Oh,
wow.
you just gonna call the popo?" Yes, if you do drugs on my property, I'm going to call the popo.
Yeah.
You know, and they even had somebody come over to the property and tell me, you know, Miss Ella, they said if you walk on that sidewalk, they gonna hurt you today. I said, yeah. Well, baby, get you a piece of candy and go home now. Do your homework. But Miss Ella, just go get out of my office. What did I do when I got off of work? I made sure to walk on that side of the sidewalk. I said, this is exactly what I said. Excuse my French. these ends gonna have to kill me today because they will not put fear in me.
Yeah.
They will
Amen.
not. Now, my husband at the time didn't like that. He was
Yeah.
like, "What are you, Ella?" Sometimes we just get to going, we can't help ourselves. So
Right.
I walked on that sidewalk and they did nothing. They were sitting out looking at me. You know how they get all hard. You know how they do this with the shoulder. I was like, yeah. Now I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know if I was fixing to get shot. I didn't know what was really going down, Mark. Right? But I made it home, and the next day, that drug dealer came to my office. He said, "I come in peace, Miss Ella." He said, "You were so bold to do that. I can't do nothing but respect you." So I won him over by showing no fear. Now I didn't have to go through all that because I was a woman. I remember one night they were about to rob me until they realized it was me. They were like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Ella." I was like, "You was fixing to rob me? The heck? On a bicycle?"
Yeah. Wow.
But I mean, this is being comical, guys, but that could have been uglier. They could
Yeah.
have killed me. They could
Yeah.
have robbed me, and I would have just been another statistic. But that
Right.
day, I said, I am going to demand that my people want more.
Yeah.
And that gets tiresome. I'm not going to lie. I don't know about you guys and what you're doing in your communities, but for me, when I was in that capacity to lead and to make a difference, it's overwhelming
Oh
because
yeah.
I was asking for the basic just to have pride. That's a
Mm-hmm.
basic, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So I
Yeah.
think that's a lot of what Crystal is talking about when she's saying how it's hard to bring people along that are in those mindsets. But this is where it starts, education. This is
Right.
Yeah.
why I like doing shows like this,
Right.
because I can't assume that everybody read the same books I read or the same books you read, Marsha, or Mark or Heather. I can't assume they all have the same information. I have to be responsible for what I'm putting out to make sure that people are receiving the right information. Now, what you do with it, that's on you.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That's
Sure.
on you. You
Well,
know?
we've got to concede that within our community, many of our neighbors or whomever, they have internalized racism, and that means that they are accepting what the larger community might think of Black people, and they will exercise that faulty idea. So you have to disabuse them of the notion, no, we are who we are, and you are who you think you are. And you know, I don't know. That's all. That's what I think about a lot. And I mean, I I do think about it all the time. Just how can I keep my mind focused? How can I keep my mind? Because I think about what do what what is it that white people get from us, you know, fighting amongst ourselves? They get satisfaction from it. So I don't want it. I don't want that. I want you to have esteem, and I want you to, I want us to
I don't
prosper.
really care what they think. I really don't care what
I
they
want us
think
to
because
prosper.
I'm not trying to present something that's false. We don't all get along. We don't all think the same. We aren't
It's
all
true.
accomplished because of decisions we made, and we have to address it because they're not there either. So I don't. They think they are. I mean, you were 10 miles ahead of us because your ancestors stole a lot from us. So I already know your truth, whether you know it
Right.
or not. So I'm not concerned about them. Not really. Not
Which
really.
them? Which them is this? I'm sorry. I'm confused.
White people who
Okay.
look
No.
at us
No.
and they're mad that we're
No. I'm
fighting.
not. I wasn't speaking of whites. I'm talking about like how I relate to my friends and neighbors that look like me.
Oh,
When I
okay.
say internalized racism, I'm saying that sometimes Black people have feelings, negative feelings about other Black people, and
Oh,
hold stereotypes about other Black people. But
Mm-hmm.
everything is nuanced. Everything has a reason. Everything has a background that we don't know anything about. So knowing that, I'm just saying I am calling on our higher angels, I'm guilty. I can't say I'm always this person, but I do try to be that person to understand. I feel myself want to snap at somebody and like, what do I care if a ghetto queen like you says this to me? What do I care? Why would I
yeah,
care? But I have to
yeah,
catch myself. I say to myself, you know
true.
what? There's a young woman who went through something. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But you know what? I want to be a space for her just in case. Just in case. So, I had to catch myself and try to operate, operate in a different way. It's hard. But we have that background. We have that spiritual upbringing, Ella, that tells us to care for people who need it.
Put it on the plate.
Give
me some.
And then when you see people acting, hurt people, right?
Yeah. Hurt people. That's true.
So we have to hold space for those people that are.
Now look at this comment, Kim, because it looks like we're still on the neighborhood thing. Kim, and Kim Abney, he says young professionals choose to stay in neighborhoods where the financial class is a match. They care less about the race. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, sure. I think that's true.
Because I've never been intimidated living amongst white people. I've never felt intimidated by that whatsoever. I never
felt intimidated by living. I grew up in a white neighborhood, but I do agree with what they're talking about when it's young professionals. I lived in a high rise in downtown Tulsa, and these were kind of white people making really good money. They definitely didn't care about race. But they had the freedom to be able to not care about race at that point. These were younger people too. But when you start buying property, it becomes a different story.
Okay. Listen, guys, what an excellent conversation. We started out with policing and we left it a long time ago, right?
Yes, we did.
Letting it go where it goes. We're gonna, like I said, that's why I wanted to have this topic. But we started this conversation tonight talking about policing, guys, because one of the things that was a conversation amongst our community was about all of the unarmed Black men that were killed. So because that's such a topic and it happened quite often, I wanted to research and take it all the way back to the origin of policing. And so that's where we started this conversation tonight, talking about that. And we learned that how they were taught to treat Blacks, it just carried over from year after year, and that it never really left. And so this is why we wanted to start with the policing and then get into some of the conversations about the men that were killed. And then we're going to talk about these organizations that have benefited from all of the people going to prison. Like when you have your son or daughter and they're sitting in court and they're trying to get them to take a plea, they're trying to build their pockets. Okay. They care less about your child, rehabilitating them. Somebody is fixing to get paid. Trump being one of the ones at the top of the list. Okay.
Yes.
And in my research, I found out that not only are there a lot of organizations that we all use every single day, Walmart, Target, Costco. I can name some, but we're going to touch on that tomorrow. But those are just the top 3 that I remember. Then you got some politicians, Democrats and Republicans benefiting off of these prisons. Guys, it's not a game out here. And when I talk about making a demand on your leaders and people that want your vote, you need to do some research before November. Research everybody in that's going to be on that ballot list that you need to vote for. Research every one of them. Give me the names. I'll research. Because if there's anything that they're doing, call them out. Like right now, if I could be in Georgia, I would call out one of the Democrats that's on that list. Hey, why are you in Mississippi? Democrats on that list, getting excited about people going to prison. Why do you think they were so big on this? 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strikes out. They had to come up with a plan to build their pocket. Okay. They don't care. But here's the thing. We got to stop giving it to them too.
That's right.
If I'm going to talk about one side, I have to talk about the other one. Stop doing drugs. Stop killing. Stop doing all this stuff, because I'm telling you what the plan is. I'm telling you the goal is to get as many Black young men and men in prison, keep you there for life so they can keep making money off of you. That free labor, it's real. We're going to touch a lot of that tomorrow night. I knew we weren't going to get it tonight. because
we
I
didn't
have
get nowhere near it, really.
nowhere near. We didn't get past policing, girl, and we didn't get through all the points on that, right? But listen, I believe in taking it where it needs to go. Crystal says now, when you start buying property, it is the same. Folks know when you invest in your
No,
surroundings,
not
you
true.
come in and intend to stay for it, and for the right reasons. That's true. When you start investing your money, that means you're going to stay there. Don't leave out Michael Jordan and other black elites who invest in and profit from pride. Oh, I got it, Crystal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And listen, when I started doing this search, I didn't care who it is. I don't care about that. If I'm going to tell it, I got to tell it all. Like real. And the reality is that we are buying and making them more richer and richer every day. And these people are out here getting paid on the back end. That big, beautiful bill. Oh, yeah. That's what helped them out, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we just sit here and let our Democrats just fight back and forth. Tell the whole truth. They say it. They just say things too generalized for me, Heather. Like, well, you know, this is Trump buddies that's making money. Okay, give me the real skinny on that. What do you mean by that? And I'm going to give it to you. The real skinny on that is that it all has to do with these private organizations making money off this free labor. And y'all out here thinking they got rid of slavery.
Right. 13.
What do they need criminals for when they can have convicts? That's what we started it out. That's where the money is. Convict leasing, guys. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Look. I guarantee you drive down the road every single day that somebody that's in prison built.
That's right. That's
real fact. Talk, right, guys?
That's a fact. Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Terry says, y'all crazy if you think they're political parties. They're all politicians. I listen, that's why I don't like you. You're not going to hear me do this Democrat Republican spat unless I'm just really trying to piss people off on Facebook, because I do go to conservative. I go to conservative posts just to go back and forth with them, but I don't, because I think that they're all have stuff that's not pleasing. I'm sorry. Sure. I saw Democrats on the same list that I researched. And I'm going to call them out too, because this is about making sure people know the truth. This is the first time in all my years that I've seen so many black people on the same page. We shouldn't let this opportunity pass us by. Well, lie detector, why don't you join the party? Why don't you come on, hit me up and talk to us and be a part of this conversation? We need more people. Guys, I just had an idea and I need you guys to help me with it. And Terry, you're watching. I need you to help too. I want to bring a bunch of young people on this broadcast. I don't care if I got like 6 or 7 of them right here. And I really want to know what they think about all this stuff we talked about. What do they know? Not to embarrass them. If you guys can find some young people, and I'm not talking about like babies, I'm talking about like 18 and over that can actually articulate and have a conversation. I want to know what they think, because if we're going to make a difference, we have to not just talk amongst ourselves. This is great. We'll get off this show and everybody's like, oh, great. We had a great conversation. Whose life did it change? Because that's my goal.
Good night.
All right. Because I mean, I'm sitting here ready to get out of this wig, lashes and all that. And I'm hot, but I am doing this because I have a purpose. Heather, I got a purpose. And it is to make it to effect change. And we effect change through education. But like I said, you know, and I'm going to keep going back to it. And remember the Titans, when that man said, I'm not trading any film with that monkey. And Denzel did not argue with him. He didn't defend himself. He didn't defend his position. What did he do? He won. And then he handed the man the doggone banana. That was right. And the man looked at him like,
I love it.
Right. I thought that was so good. And I think that we missed that part, but we should highlight it. We should highlight it because we know the problem. We know what they think about us. We know what they tried to do to us. Now what? And that's what we're going to get by the end of the month in the Ella Johnson Show. Real talk.
Yes,
right. Well, we're getting ready to get out of here, guys. I know y'all are tired. Crystal says, I bought and sold 4 houses and had rental property. It ain't black and white all the time. It's green now. True that.
Okay, that's where we need to focus. That's where we need to focus.
And Crystal says, it helps when you maintain your property and yard and buy into the present to the preservation of your investment. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Guys, I love all the comments. I hope you all will come back tomorrow night. We did not finish this conversation. We're going to pick it up tomorrow. I'm going to show a video of the young men that I saw that we want to highlight that were killed. I hope you've gotten enough information about policing to see the parallels of what it was back then and this war on drugs that Nixon claimed, and it never really was one. He was just after Black folks, wanted them locked up. So I hope you guys see all that, learn from it. I'm going to give you guys one more word before we get out of here. You first, Marsha.
Oh no, I want to say farewell to everybody and stay in peace and stay in power.
All right, love it. Heather, what do you got to say before we get out of here, love?
To be continued. I'll be here tomorrow.
Now, are you going to be with us tomorrow, Marsha? I think you're Wednesday.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna miss you tomorrow, but I'm gonna be with you all weekend.
That's good, because on Saturday and Sunday it's Alabama history, guys. I'm from Alabama. Marsha's from Alabama. Mark's from Alabama. Charlie, who's usually on here, is from Alabama. So we're coming back, and Sharon is going to join us too, right, Marsha?
Yes.
Sharon is going to join us on Saturday night.
Yes.
And I mean on Saturday and Sunday, and it's all Alabama history because we got a lot to uncover. It's a lot of, we still got a lot yet to go this month in Black history, right?
So much.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central. Thanks for watching. Please share the broadcast and subscribe to my channel over on YouTube. And when you want to go to Amazon and buy my book, you can do that too. Just saying.
All right. Show no.
Yeah, my children's book. You have kids. No, you're not teaching little kids, right, Marsha?
No. Not right now.
Okay. Well, listen, my book is not just for little kids, because I'll tell you, my book is about teaching people that everybody in our society is important. There's a lot of grown folks need that lesson. So maybe we should read the children's book to the grown.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I ain't never scared.
All right. See you guys later. Have a great evening.
Right.
And we'll see you next time. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. We'll see you next time.
We are supporters of the Ella Johnson Show. We live in South Korea. We have been watching Ella Johnson Show for like a year now. And we love her show. Her show is very inspirational, motivational, and educational.
If you would like to be a guest on the Ella Johnson Show, send an email to theellajohnsonshow@gmail.com or send a text message to 407-334-6997.
We love Ella Johnson Show.